I'm saying this without judgment, because it's the natural tendency is people are going to say you're angry and you come off as angry. And, listening to the book, I can see the elements of anger in this, is that you're angry from the experience, and they can write you off because of it. They say, he's an angry white man who got divorced. Welcome to the club. And then write you off because of your anger, without fully appreciating that might be, at the very least, everyone else's reaction, having gone through the similar thing. I mean, how do you respond to being written off as just an angry man? Get over it.
Well, first of all, you should have finished the book, bro, because there's only one chapter about the divorce. There's a whole rest of the book where I give the structural and philosophical analysis of why all of these things happen.
I wanted to set that up for those who know part of the story. I listened to like 2.5, but yeah.
Okay. Second of all, damn right I'm angry. You know why? Because this is bull. All of it is bull. And if we don't start getting angry and start taking action, there's going to be nothing to conserve. I am sick and tired of people sitting around saying that we need to be polite and we need to have our norms and we need to be respectful. And man, F that. James Lindsay is the king of that right now, of busting that norm. And I 100% support his entire shift on Twitter that people are complaining about. I think he's 100% accurate. We need to break free of these outside constraints of pseudo morality where I'm not allowed to be mad because I've been aggrieved. That's stupid.
It's very much like Jerry Spitz. He used to say the gentleman's rules of the bar are so that the gentleman can rule the bar. And that at times you need to break the gentleman's rules in order to remove the gentleman from controlling the bar. And he means the gentleman in the top hat way, the old upper caste way. I actually had a great therapist once say that one of the great myths, she was not a woke therapist, but she pointed out that so we're kind of taught. Now, some of this is British American culture, like our mutual acquaintance Paul Watson, it's aside from his public personality, has that sort of diplomatic, won't take credit that much for things that he's actually helped meaningfully accomplish, that sort of British humility. And almost in the American, particularly for young boys and men, we're taught not to be angry, that anger is bad, that anger is something wrong. It was actually this woman counselor who said anger is one of the most important emotions you need to experience and listen to, because they're often your instinct screaming to you that something is wrong. Yes. And she pointed out in this particular relationship I'd been in, she said, what would have happened if you would have listened to that anger? And I'm like, I would have been out of there a lot sooner and saved myself a lot of problems. But anger is not such a bad thing, I think. But there's something in the Western, and this is a good bridge to the broader conversation, that you're one of the leaders as part of the reason for the Liminal Order, part of the reason for a large part of your conversations, the 21 conference speeches that you've given. There really is, and I think if you have a son, it's going to be accentuated extraordinarily so. The assault on men. Yes. I mean, now we have an additional attack on biological gender. But before we get to that, can you talk about, there is just a cultural, political, social onslaught against men. And one of it is, if you're a man, you're not allowed to be angry. Or if you are angry, we get to discredit you. We get to say you no longer have validity. When in fact, being angry is, as that counselor told me, one of the most important, legitimate ways we can understand and get access to truth. But can you talk about that in the broader context of just what an onslaught and assault on men is taking place as merely the idea of masculinity in our society today?
You're absolutely right. And look, there's a difference between rage and anger, right? I have righteous anger. I have been wronged, and I am not going to accept that. And that is okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Blind rage, where you don't have control of yourself and you've lost your capacity for critical thinking and self, restraint, that's bad. That's toxic.
Which basically describes the woke left.
Right, exactly. And so, yes, in the context of the greater war, look, this whole thing is about destroying masculinity. It all comes all the way back down to that. Why? All societies have been oppressive. This is the argument. All societies have been oppressive. All societies have been patriarchal. Patriarchy is oppressive. The power of the patriarchy comes from men. What is male power? Masculine energy. If we're going to save the world from oppression, we have to end the patriarchy, Therefore, we have to end male power and destroy masculine energy. It's not, I'm not speculating, guys. This is in the literature. Okay. Like, I'm not making it up. It's in the books. This is what they say. It's very clear. It's black and white. It is why queering is a thing. Queering is a verb. Queering means to destroy boundaries so that we don't have distinctions between us, between other groups, between individuals, so that we all become the same thing, which means we all become nothing, right? Queering is to destroy masculinity. It's even to destroy femininity. It's to destroy the family. It's to destroy countries. It's to destroy nations. Queering is all part of this attack on masculinity, and everything that the progressives do, the Black Lives Matter, the CRT folks, the rad femmes, all of it comes all the way back down, all the way down the drain, all the way back to this war on men. And the war on men is real, and it's been ongoing. And not only is there a war on men, but there is the continued advancement of female interests. But let me tell you some stats. Girls do better in elementary school than boys. Girls do better in middle school than boys. Girls do better in high school than boys. They graduate high school at a higher rate. They apply to college at a higher rate. They're accepted to college at a higher rate. They graduate college at a higher rate. In 148 out of 150 metropolitan cities in America, they earn more than their male counterparts at entry-level jobs. Over their careers, they have more managerial and professional positions than men. Over their life, they are less likely to succumb to alcoholism, drug addiction, suicide. And at the end of the day, they live longer, and when they die, they control more wealth than men. Where in that is there any sign of female oppression? But yet, today, everything is about, oh, we're going to have to hire 15% of our pilots have to be women now. Why? What if women don't want to be pilots? Goodness. All of this is a battle to destroy masculine energy, which is why the manosphere got attacked. What is wrong with guys getting together to share their experiences and to gather strength from their friendships? Why? What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that, except that it allows men to see underneath or behind the cloak, right? Behind the curtain a little bit. But everything or anything, Boy Scouts, another great example, anything that is about men coming together to make themselves better men, to increase their masculine energy, to increase their brotherhood, is a threat. Black Lives Matter says all black suffering is the result of white systems of oppression. Feminists say the same thing. All female suffering is the result of male systems of oppression. What's animating these male systems of oppression but male energy? This is logical. It's logical to make this argument. It's also in the literature. I'm not making anything up. And it's time that people actually are aware. It's astounding to me that people aren't, that you say that and they're like, oh, wow, but there's still more male CEOs. Guess what? Women don't want to be CEOs. Why? I don't want to be CEO of a corporation either. That sounds horrible. I don't want to be president either. Anyway, I'm getting hot. The James Damore memo from Google.
Yeah, you talked about that in the book as well.
Oh, you did make it at least halfway.
No,
I'm just kidding, dude. Just kidding.
And because most people don't know the full story of James Damore. Like, most people think it was an unsolicited opinion email that he sent around, and they don't realize that it was actually a question that he was asked to prepare a response for, and the response was weaponized in a way to sully his name in a way that once the accusation is made, that's all that was needed to end his career, and Lord knows what he's doing. But yeah, go on with it, please.
Yeah. So James Damore went to a diversity, equity, inclusion thing at Google, where at Google they're like, oh, we don't have enough women working here. Never mind that not as many women are applying. Never mind that when you can sign, that cartoon, that meme where it's like STEM class sign up here and the like women's studies sign up over here and the line for the women's studies around the corner. The point is that when James Damore responded to a request for feedback, he just listed a bunch of data. Women have different personalities. Women are inclined to do different things. Men are inclined to do different things. Hey, in the Scandinavian countries where they're the most egalitarian in the world, the difference, the polarization in professional choice is even more pronounced than it is here in the United States because they have the choice. right? Men like to build, create, provide, protect. Women like to nurture and to care and to love and to tend. It's built into us. The James Damore memo, he brought that stuff to light. Then he got fired for it. And then the follow-up stuff, the investigative journalism and the lawsuits that came out of that revealed so much about the inner workings of Google, their philosophies, the way that they have adopted all of these things that we're talking about, the negative elements. And then not only that, but they have now baked it into the technology. It's baked into the algorithms. It's baked into your search results. So these philosophies that all men need to go away, otherwise we're going to have oppressive patriarchies forever, is built into the technology that controls access basically to all the world's information. Now, if that's not a red pilling moment that makes you be like, oh, damn, it makes you wonder, maybe should the government get involved a little bit? I don't know what else is gonna. And so you can see now how, like, me getting divorced, wanting to date, start pulling on this thread. It's the same thread. It's the same thread. It just led all the way to the Google search results and the monopolization of data and information.
No, and it's an interesting thing because, I mean, I've noticed it as well, whether or not it's an attack on masculinity or just on traditional values in quotes. So we might actually be saying the same thing, but just using different words. I have nephews who are going to university now, and I'm saying university is not a place where I would want to go. It's not a place where I would want to be. It's not an environment that I would want to be in. And it was already getting a little towards that end when I was in university, where you couldn't, unless you hated the United States. This was back, what year are we in? 2004. Unless you hated the United States, you would face the same wrath, but to a much lesser degree than what we see today on a slew of broader issues. I wouldn't want to be a male who, it is an actual liability to be, unsupervised with members of the opposite sex because of what the power in the accusation, the power of the victimhood now. So I'm seeing it as well as, maybe to a lesser degree because I haven't lived it. But I guess now, so
keep listening, bro.
Now the question is, I know what you're doing to counter it. So does this work its way into the essence of what the liminal group is? First of all, what does the word liminal mean? I didn't get to look that up.
So Liminal Order is the name of our organization. And liminality is the state of being between two fixed points. It is a transition period. Oftentimes, it's used to describe like the transition from boyhood into manhood. Or Indians and Native Americans would do vision quests where they would go out and break down their reality and then reconsolidate it into a new one. Liminality is just a state of being in which that there is an additional element of chaos and there's additional elements of uncertainty. And it is where we are right now. Right, we're in a position of change, of dramatic change, and we're sort of adrift because these traditional values, to use Nassim Taleb's word, the Lindy values of masculinity and femininity. What could be more Lindy than masculinity and femininity? By the way, the values and our whole culture is in a moment of transition and change, and order is what you want to do when you've got chaos. You want to bring order to chaos, and then it's a little bit of a pun. It's an order of men. So the liminal order. It is for our men. We're understanding we're in this transition period. There's increased chaos in our society. And here we are, an order of men attempting to bring order to chaos. And so, yes, our common values, this is a values-based organization, masculinity and brotherhood. You combine those two and you get sovereignty. Okay? That's what we're all about. We're all about enhancing and strengthening our sense of masculine energy within ourselves and our membership. Brotherhood, and then also manifesting more of them in the world around us with the intent and goal of leading to personal and physical sovereignty. This is our goal. This is our response to the war on men. This is our response to the attack on masculinity. This is our response to the chaos and the mayhem that is out there and the destruction and capture of all of our institutions. And this is our response. It's one piece. There has to be a million things to happen.
What does personal and physical sovereignty mean concretely?
Concretely, well, each of the values have sub-values: masculinity, mastery, honor, courage, loyalty. We are builders, protectors, providers, instructors, right? Brotherhood, service to each other, service to the community, loyalty to each other, community, right? Then sovereignty. So personal sovereignty. This is a notion that I got from Jordan Greenhall, AKA. And in personal sovereignty is about maintaining your narrative space, maintaining your personal narrative, not becoming a victim of ideologies inserted into your brain. Jordan Peterson says frequently, or did previously, that people don't have ideas. Ideas have people. Okay. We are not going to be that guy. We are not going to be the guy who an idea captured. Okay. And if you just listen to conventional wisdom today, here's what happens. You go to college, you take on a bunch of debt, you get chained to a corporate desk, you become fat if you listen to the government and the food pyramid. And then right now you're in your basement wearing 2 masks with your kid quarantined in the room next to you because somebody at the school got corona a month ago, especially if you're in Canada, right? Okay. So that's what happens when you just accept the narratives, the conventional wisdom you put in your brain. It kills you.